Okay, Mallory, are you there?
I can hear you now. I think you guys are muted at first.
Okay, resolution then to adopt the agenda.
Sure. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Dysart et al. Held on August 27th, 2024 be approved as presented.
Okay, mover and seconder. Walt and Barry, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Being none. Okay, resolution.
Murray, can you hear
Resolution
me?
adopted.
Yeah, we can hear you, Pat. Did you have a disclosure?
Yeah, Mallory, I'm involved with that Musquabi Lake presentation they're doing there today. I did some of the work with them there on estimates and stuff like that, so I'll have to sit out on that one.
Okay. We'll get you a form for that. I'll note it in the minutes here.
Yeah,
Do we mean Trappers Trail, that item?
yeah, correct, yes.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, okay, when we get to that, we'll do that. Okay, resolution then to adopt the minutes.
Sure. Be it resolved that council approves the July 23rd, 2024 regular council meeting minutes as circulated.
Okay, mover and seconder. Tammy and Nancy, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Any updates from the county, Walt, that you want to report?
No, not right now.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow we're looking at the start of a strategic plan process there that staff is going to be doing, which is kind of exciting that it's being done in-house, which is great. Okay, Mr. Ben Perry, are you with us, Ben? And Mike Marsh is here. And Danielle.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So Ben, I just turn it to Ben then, let him start.
Yeah, I think that'll work. And
Okay.
we'll answer some questions at the end.
Oh, very good. Okay, Ben, go ahead.
Good morning. Thanks very much for having me here this morning. So just as a quick introduction to me, I'm Ben Perry from Perry Group Consulting. We're a firm that focuses on municipal technology strategy. We've worked with maybe 250 municipalities across the country. We're expert advisors in digital and technology and municipal service modernization. And I've been working with Danielle and Mike and Bob and Tamara on this project from the start. So just as a reminder, following the service delivery review, the suggestion was to build on strong sort of IT collaboration and recognizing that there were opportunities to advance there. And so the county sought a consultant through an RFP process, and we were fortunate enough to be selected to lay out the 5-year IT digital plan. And the goal of that work is really to position the partners to deliver innovative and progressive services and solutions, make life easier for customers, residents, business and visitors, but also for staff. And the project has really been undertaken in a really exceptionally collaborative way with really great participation from all of the partners at the CAO and IT level. Now, why is technology even important? Why are we here? Why are we going to talk about that? Well, in the modern age, I think it's reasonable to say that expectations have changed. Majority of people bank online, shop online, do business and connect online. And of course, we're meeting today online. 88% of Canadians bank online, and a recent Institute of Citizen-Centered Services survey, which talks to about 6,000 Canadians, suggests that more than 75% of Canadians have interacted with governments online. So the expectations of citizens has certainly changed. So there's a set of drivers that are pushing municipalities, the provincial government, the federal government, and various other public sector agencies to deliver more services in a digital way. So customer demands have changed. but also staff are interacting online in their day-to-day life, and their expectations have changed. We're seeing, and I'll show you a few examples in a moment, technology is really a multiplier, helping unlock staff capacity and helping us get more done with the same amount of people. And data that we collect through managing processes through systems allows us new insights. And there's some risks, I think, associated with ignoring the sort of digital imperative or the shift to digital. There's a reputational risk of becoming out of touch. I think that municipalities that aren't embracing technology are certainly having a harder time recruiting and retaining staff. And as you'll see, there's a lot of cybersecurity risks that it's important that we invest in and mitigate. So our position is really that in 2024, effective utilization of technology has become really a required core competency for municipalities. But it's not just about expectations. Technology can drive service delivery costs down. And there are lots of municipal studies that suggest that delivering services face-to-face with customers coming into the counter costs between $15 and $30 to deliver. A phone-based transaction costs between $5 and $15, whereas an online transaction costs around $1. And so the idea being that if we can encourage or deliver services to those people that want to interact online, then we can help drive our service delivery costs down. Now, just want to be clear, we're not saying that all services must be delivered digitally and only digitally. There are people that won't want to use your online services, that won't want to take advantage of those types of things, either because they can't or they don't want to. And that's totally fine. We're not suggesting that we take away any of those channels, but there's a large proportion of the community that would want to take advantage of those channels. And where we can, let's offer those services to help them use those more effective ways of delivering. As I mentioned earlier, we work with hundreds of municipalities across the country, and we've sort of been gathering a set of benefits that we're seeing other communities achieve. I've just listed a handful of examples here, but in almost every case, we're speeding up delivery of service. We're reducing the amount of time staff spent on activities, freeing them up to work on other higher value activities. So by investing in technology, we're unlocking staff capacity, we're speeding up service, and we're making the customer experience better for the people that we're serving. So these are some of the drivers that we think are important to be bearing in mind. So as we worked on the strategy, the first thing that we did was conduct a current state assessment, and a couple of the observations that we think are important and communicated in the strategy. Very strong IT team at the county, delivering great services. You already benefit as a partner from the IT services that the county provides. Really good partnership in place between all of the parties, and emerging new work on shared initiatives such as document and records management. We could see across all of the partners a lot of momentum around digitization and offering new services online, and Dysart was one of the leaders in that space for sure, driven by some of our COVID experience. And we certainly saw some really good goodwill and collaborative spirit. What we also noted was that the core infrastructure, the bottom of the house in this diagram, was very strong, but the areas above were outside of the remit of the county IT team. Essentially, the county IT team's remit was make sure that our infrastructure works well. But everyone else is on their own to figure out business solutions, integration and data and customer facing. So the website and online services. And the takeaway was that all of the partners have experienced the value of collaboration and shared services. And the benefits really accrue because we've standardized in the infrastructure layer. We've rationalized, we've simplified that layer. We're using shared systems across all of the partners. We've got a dedicated team of specialists at the county to support those pieces of the infrastructure. And there's clear roles and responsibilities and accountabilities, and the team are held accountable for that. And ultimately, that's resulted in higher quality service at a lower total cost. And that's pretty attractive, we feel, going forward. So the strategy really builds on that and says, hey, we recognize that technology is central to our effectiveness. It's getting more complicated. It's getting more expensive. But we want to build on what we already have. So we want to build on the positive outcomes of the shared technology infrastructure. And we'd like to extend the sort of collaborative model out to those areas that we saw in the diagram that were orange. So business solutions, the things that run the business, tax systems, finance systems, permitting and planning systems, data and integration, or GIS, and our online services. And as part of doing that, we're suggesting that we adopt a collaboration first approach. And actually, I think I've mentioned this already, but throughout this project, we worked in an exceptionally collaborative way. We established a working group of all of the sort of technology leads. And the team has already been working on a series of collaborative projects and starting to see a bunch of benefits coming back from those things. So they're achieving upfront and ongoing cost savings, 20% cost reduction in projects and shared licensing of solutions. Because they're working together, they're able to tackle projects, bigger projects, and purchase products that they likely wouldn't be able to afford, or you wouldn't be able to afford individually. They're avoiding duplication of costs, building one solution or implementing one solution instead of 5 or 6. Collectively, that's improving experiences for customers. And by working together, we're sharing learning and scaling up good ideas. So one team comes up with a good idea, tests it out, it works well, we spread it across the group. And that's working already really well. So the strategy essentially says, hey, let's keep going. Let's keep going. So to capitalize on these opportunities, we've suggested expanding the remit of the county's IT team and the county IT director, Mike, to play a stronger role in coordinating and orchestrating work in those other layers that we saw. We've suggested expanding the county IT team so that they have the capacity to be able to do that. And we've recommended a number of positions to be added to the county team. One of those positions has already been added in 2024, and those other things will come forward in subsequent budgets. We're asking each of the partners, the area municipalities, to ensure each municipality has a local digital transformation coordinator. And Dysart, in this case, is ahead of the game, and Danielle is that person for your organization, doing a brilliant job. We said establish a collaborative governance model to make sure that the CAOs and the technology teams are working together and aligning the technology work with corporate and organizational strategies. And we've suggested that there are a set of areas where we need to work together as a priority. So we've set a collaboration first strategy and a set of areas which we've defined that we need to collaborate on. So really, we're encouraging the idea of joint working. As I mentioned, we've already established some of the governance model. The CAOs meet regularly to review the sort of technology work plan and the progress against strategic objectives. Digital transformation working group partners at the IT level are meeting bi-weekly and talking regularly about opportunities. And we're establishing some methods so that we consistently deliver projects in a high quality way. We also suggested that we keep everyone more abreast of what's going on with the technology and digital work So annual reporting to councils on technology strategy. So Danielle and Mike will come forward on a regular basis to give you updates. But we also want to do a checkpoint annually with the CAOs to make sure that the shared model is working well, is achieving the goals, and is serving all of the partners. We've built the work plan into a number of phases, 2 core phases. The first part is really about building the muscles of collaboration, continuing to work on methods and ways of doing things, and executing a handful of projects in 2024. And then in 2025 and onwards, tackling some larger projects together. So we've laid out a work plan. Annually, the Digital Transformation Working Group will recalibrate that plan and make sure that it's in good shape and that we can adjust to things as they emerge. There are some budget and resource impacts, so we've suggested the addition of 3 new positions. The 2024 work, the work that's already underway, is already funded through 2024 budgets. 2025 and onward would be funded via annual budget requests. So with this strategy, we're not coming forward asking for funds at this point. We're asking for endorsement of the trajectory and the strategy that we've laid out. Any future funding would need to come through the county and area municipal budget process. And we are suggesting that each of the partners go back and have a look at their 10-year capital, 5-year capital, IT budgets to make sure that it aligns with the work that we've laid out. There's one observation that we think that's worthwhile sharing at this stage. In looking at the expenditures on technology across the partners, we noted that we're spending less than 2% of our expenditures on technology. The leading organizations in this space is the banking industry that spends about 10 to 12% of their expenditures on technology. We don't expect you to be there, but we do think that you'll need to gradually increase your expenditures on technology, perhaps to 3% and then maybe 4% in the longer term. We do think it's important that investments in technology are returning value. And so one of the things that we've encouraged the team to focus on is capturing benefits and report on benefits realization. So we should be bringing forward business cases that say, hey, we think we'd like to invest $20,000 in this project. We think it's going to return value over the next 3 years, equivalent to $40,000. We need to be able to show and track that. So that's an important part of the work. So just in wrapping up, I think that the thing that we wanted to communicate is that collaborative work is already bearing some really promising fruit and some real valuable fruit. There is a great opportunity to build on the existing relationships and the existing value. The next area to focus on certainly is in business solutions. It's going to require commitment from all of the parties, cooperation, compromise. Bringing 5, 6 organizations together is difficult, but it can be done, and you're proving it already that it is working well. So it's going to require some determination to keep moving forward effectively, and some commitment to the model. But I think you've got a great foundation. Kudos to the teams for working extremely collaboratively. Got some great working relationships to build on. So with that, I'll pass it back to Mike and Danielle if they have anything that they want to add, and happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. I just wanted to, say a couple thank yous. I wanted to thank Ben and his team for the great work they did on the strategy and leading us through this process. Thanks to all Dysart staff. There was a lot of interviews and surveys, and we got a lot of great participation from everyone here. I want to thank Danielle and everyone else at the Digital Transformation Working Group. Like Ben said, there's been a really good spirit of collaboration and everybody kind of willingness to help drive some of this forward. And I also wanted to thank all the councils for supporting this in the first place. To kind of reiterate what Ben said as well, what we're looking for today is not a blanket approval of everything that's in the strategy, because at first blush, it can be kind of overwhelming. It's basically what we're looking for is an endorsement that kind of working together, the 6 partners and collaborating is kind of the way to go in the future, because we'll realize benefits, savings, either in costs or time. So that's kind of what we're looking for today.
I'll just add that like working collaborating thus far has worked really well. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
I guess because of the 2-tier, but this is a typical setup in 2-tier then, with where the county has the lead, and that makes sense, by the way.
If I may, I know in Eastern Ontario, Haliburton County, I don't know if we were the first, but we were one of the first to actually have a shared services, because we were also small. I was the first IT person hired, and it just made sense at that time to do the IT for all the lower tiers as well.
Right.
And it's grown to a point where I think the majority of my Eastern Ontario counterparts at least do one or more of their municipalities. But I would venture to say no one is as collaborative as us.
Good, it's good news. Questions from council? We're really excited this morning, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just, you know me, I'm always looking to see if we're going to add, that we get something to counter with it. And I understand the need for technology, I really do. And the faster we do that, the better, as long as it's collaboratively, like you say. But I also like to see if it's so much more efficient, what's going out the other end. If we just keep adding people, that's not going to be the solution either. And I think you've heard me say that before.
I have, and I think if I may, what Ben said, I think we need to maybe a better case of building at creating some business cases, so that when we do come and ask for some money, it's clear about what the return is for the municipality.
Fair enough. Any other comments, Pat or Nancy? Something good about being the first one on, isn't
It is.
there? Well, thanks very much, Ben and Mike, and our staff, of course. We're very proud of what she does here. So that's good. Good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'll read the resolution. That
Sure.
works? Okay. Be it resolved that Desert All Council receives the IT to digital strategy presentation report from Ben Perry of Perry Consulting Group, and that council endorses the principles outlined in the digital strategy report.
Mover and seconder. Walt and Tammy, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay. Kirby Begg, I think you're next. How are you, Kirby?
I'm good.
Morning, everybody. Mostly everybody here would know me, but for the ones that don't, I'm from Eagle Lake. Been basically raised here my entire life, last 6 months. My dad had moved up here. I was 6 months old, youngest of 4, and took over Eagle Lake store, which slowly grew with the times up here as Haliburton expanded. And certainly worked there my entire life. As a kid, I didn't get summer vacations like all my friends did. We were very busy as a family. Got to certainly see in the area how important tourism was. We relied on really good summers in order to make it through. And then certainly helped with wintertime come Christmas when Sir Sam's opened. So if we didn't have all that with our tourism, it would have been extremely difficult to carry. Anyway, what I'm here about is I'm very passionate about history. I've got to know a lot of the old guys that have since gone, and love the stories of Haliburton. And you know, how it was developed and where it started, and certainly Eagle Lake. And anyway, there's an application to close the original Peterson Trail at a certain location, which is at the historic called the Guilford Road. Old timers called it the Old Eagle Lake Road. And these roads really need to remain open. The Peterson Trail is such good, strong history. And I shouldn't be calling it a trail. It's the Peterson Road. And it actually goes back further in time than what we talk about with just a historic settlement road. It actually, if you look into it, it goes back to the War of 1812. And it goes back to our 2-year war against the Americans when they were fighting the British. And if you read back on that, which I did, it actually does talk about it, where they created, the natives had helped, and they created a roadway that was needed to go from Ottawa to Georgian Bay to fight off the Americans that were heading up that way, because otherwise they could have moved up into this area. So it's very interesting to think about troops and supplies and everything went through from Ottawa right through Haliburton County out that way. So then it followed up with being eventually surveyed and became the Peterson Road, which, you know, shouldn't allowed to be shut down. This is a public roadway that should be open. This is no disrespect to the landowners or an attack on them, nothing like that. It's just doing what's right to keep our land open. Everything seems to be closing up a little bit more all the time, and people need to be able to access this. So it's, you know, I own property in there as well too. And there's every day people back there bicycling, hiking, walking their dogs, certainly ATVing, and they all have the right to do that. And why is it allowed to be closed on one section compared to others? And, you know, I know some groups that I have recently spoke to as well too, that would love to be able to take trailers in with their horses and start walking, you know. So I've actually spoke to somebody and said, I'm willing to donate some of my land if you wanted to come back and park your trailer there and walk your horses on the Peterson Road, by all means. So they should be able to do that as well off the Haliburton Lake Road, whether going east or west, and make use of it. So I'm here to ask about, you know, considering not allowing that to be closed, proper thing to do would be to have an original survey done, whether council can come up with that, or, you know, there's other means of doing that as well. And it appears like there possibly has been a little bit done there recently. There's some fresh stuff there. And as well too, like it's right at the intersection where it's called on the maps from 1860, 1870, called the Guilford Road, but again, it's the old Eagle Lake Road. And let's keep these open. Everybody should be able to use this. You know, if there's some sort of a problem with certain ends of it, then, you know, that can be dealt with if it's related to hunting seasons or, you know, ATV problems, or I don't know. But I'm just asking that, you know, it not be allowed to be closed, that it should remain open.
Okay, well, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
The issue, as you know, is there's a dispute where the Peterson Road is,
Well,
location.
I know exactly where it is. I used to go in there with a kid when the corduroy motorcycle race used to go through there. I know exactly where the original trail is. It did veer off at one portion, which is legitimate to shut that down because it does go through private property. I'm saying that this one particular area where it is right now, if anybody wanted to review it or come out and see it, I can show you. And that area, that one particular section needs to be opened back up. It's in by far the best interest of the Snowmobile Club, because, you know, I can understand once upon a time why that particular area maybe got rerouted after logging, because there is a steep hill there. It's not steep to this day and age with their machinery. A little bit of excavation work that could be wide open. Then the Snowmobile Club doesn't need to ask special permission to go through private property. They have their own road to use. Can't be closed down at any one point in there because it's on the Peterson Road. Same with other, you know, it could be part of the hiking system for Haliburton. People could park and hike and you can go right through to Algonquin Park from there. You know, you could go to the Harbor Road and stop from there, walk back towards our area, stop from there, go head out towards, right through to, like I said, to Algonquin Park.
Well, we had an estimate on that, and I think it was $60,000 to survey it. So I can't imagine that it should be that much, like, it'd just be one section around the hill you're talking about, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I understand there has been some surveying from the one end coming in, don't know, but, so what needs to happen with surveying? Like, is it a local person that is required to do it, or is it not a town
Oh, no,
person? Is it,
As long as they're a licensed surveyor, they can do it.
right?
Um,
So this, where this gate is going, or potentially going, is, it does run on a short distance on a 66-foot road allowance, and then that veers right off it. But to me, the road would trump the road allowance, because it was certainly there before the surveying and everything was done.
Okay, so the road allowance isn't necessarily the Peterson Trail then.
Right, just, it goes in for a short distance on the road allowance on the Peterson Trail. They match up there for a short distance before the Peterson veers off it.
Okay, Carm, you had something you wanted to say, or Barry?
Kurt, what, like other places in the province, is the road gated like this anywhere else? Do you know of?
Well,
or-
okay, so it'll be a domino effect if this allows to go through. I already know other landowners that are waiting to see what's gonna happen here. And then you're gonna have applications on the same roadway that I own both sides of the road in couple of different spots. I have no intentions of putting an application in to close it. I know other people that are waiting to see the decision. So
Right. And what, do you know if there's any other gates anywhere like
yes, there
along
is.
the line?
Well, there's on that particular area from there to the Halliburton Lake Road, it's actually ridiculous how many gates are in there.
Right.
It goes because the road, it's a road, it's in the
Yep.
bush. It
Yep.
goes on one piece of property off onto another piece. So as it goes on and off every landowner's property, they all have gates.
Yeah.
It's such a
Where-
short area, there's a lot of gates there.
But how, anywhere like out of this count, say, do you know of any of the same issues like in the different counties or?
With the Peterson Road itself?
Yeah,
Well, no, I haven't, you can track, if you drive along, you can see where Peterson Road, it's named, it has different names to it, but it's still a Peterson Road, and
Yeah.
various spots all the way through. You'll see it right from here to Bracebridge. If you veer off into Cushog Lake, you hit the Peterson Road. Peterson Road then heads towards Brady Lake Road, and then it basically 118 highway followed it over to Uffington, and then it turns off and heads through there and comes out into Bracebridge. Like it's in and out of our main roads all the way. So you know, I can see where somebody buys a piece of property, not from the area, comes in, not really maybe 100% sure of the history of the road, and then maybe think that it's okay to close it when shouldn't be.
Well,
But I do agree, it does need to be 100% surveyed
Yeah.
to know exactly where it is and then deal with it from there.
when we met, Walt and I met before with you,
Yes,
and we were supposed to get the three of you together to see if there's a compromise here.
Yeah.
And I guess that hasn't happened, or.
no,
Still think that's the best, if we can resolve it
right.
ourselves, and that's the best way to do it. Now, I know they've been out of the country a bit, but they should be back here now, so,
Well, they've been around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they've been around.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then we'll force them to meet with
Yeah.
you.
So, but I'd like to invite anybody else there as well to come to
Yeah,
this particular
okay.
area and have a little meeting there and talk about it. And
Yeah.
then it's, maybe we'll come to site. Like right now on the other road as well too. We had dealt with that earlier on with some gates, and it was surveyed right through to, the Bugner Road, and that survey is still there. And those gates came down, but now there's barricades up.
Yeah.
With cameras. And I don't really think you should be able to have cameras on public property taking
No.
pictures 33 feet back, center of the road onto their own land, taking pictures onto that, that's fine.
I've tried to go back to older surveyors,
Yes,
to see if there was something there that we could, it must have been touched at some time or another. It had to be
not,
surveyed.
not in my entire life that I,
No.
right from through, it's always been in the exact same.
Well, you're just a young guy.
I know, but,
yeah.
hey, listen, I got to know a lot of the old timers, right? So,
Yeah, Fair
uh,
enough.
you know, I miss all those guys because
Yeah.
they'd be in here to talk as well too.
Well, I think we'll try one more time to get whoever else you want together,
Sure,
and if that doesn't happen, we'll have to make a decision.
right.
Hey, just
Yeah,
one more
yeah.
thing. Marie, you said about the survey, and Kirby made a good point with the snowmobile club. would be worth reaching out to the Snowmobile Club and seeing if they'd be interested in pitching in on the survey, so
Yeah.
that they didn't have to go through private property anymore. Because they gotta fight every year to keep the trail open, and
Yeah.
face it, that trail goes all the way through, and if it can be kept open, it will be kept open forever, but if not, if Cal decides to shut Snowmobile Trail down, there's no thoroughfare through Halliburton County anymore, period, for Snowmobile Trail. That is our main Snowmobile Trail from the railroad track to here.
But
And the
snowmobilers
Peterson-
are still going through there. They're allowing that.
Well, currently they are, but what ifs?
Yeah.
Right? At least if we were to get it wrote in stone that is the Peterson.
Yeah.
Our snowmobile tourism won't be shut down.
I hear you. Yeah, for sure. Well, let's see if we
But
can
there's,
get
but there's a
together
lot
here.
of uses that can happen with that property and, again, when I talk about tourism, it draws people in. If people were to come in and want to hike it, bike it, ride their horses through it, anything, it's a draw for our community. It brings money here.
Well,
Yes, I know the area a little bit, nothing like you do, Kirby, but, and I'm not here siding with either you or the private property owners. You are a property owner. But, the one question I'm sure in today it's, times have changed a lot. And, I think with the owners of the property, at least I've talked to them a bit, they're concerned about somebody going through there with all this new modern equipment and hitting a tree, going way too fast, and everything's going faster and faster. And on that little stretch of road, if it happened on their property, they're gonna be severely sued.
Well, Walt, that
No?
happens every day through that same road anyway, where it's access into Bush Wolf Lake and straight across that. There's ATVers, there's bicyclers, there's everything on there, just
I
the same.
understand that.
Where this
'cause-
area would be a trail that goes through the bush. And is probably gonna have less chance of something happening there because it's gonna be far slower. And it's all part of that. And plus, I could be wrong, but does the Snowmobile Club not cover a liability all year long on their trails?
yeah.
Right?
yeah.
So that's covered anyway. All they need to do, landowners, no different than everybody else, properly post it, both sides of the road. Stay on the road, private property, any offshoot trails, road that go onto their property, gate it. Right? Keep everybody right on the trail and
Like
keep
Gate
posting
gate
it.
the
Stay-
logging trails you're saying.
Yeah, like anywhere that accesses onto theirs, then shut it down. But as far as the road that they do not own, everybody should be able to use it.
Okay. I
Okay,
think
And,
Pat's- I
and
think
there's no
Pat's-
more liability to them than anybody else.
I think Pat's got a question. Pat's got a question.
Pat,
Yeah.
have you got a question?
Not this time, boys.
I was looking forward to one.
No, I got everything.
He's not feeling well. That's the
Oh.
only reason. Okay.
All right,
Thanks, Kirby.
all right, and
Well,
I'm open to anybody calling me, talking to me and
Yeah.
wanting to meet up later on any other further.
Well,
questions.
we'll definitely try and put that together. We
Okay.
didn't maybe follow it up close enough, so
Yep.
we'll see. Okay, resolution then, Mallory, do we have a resolution?
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the delegation from Kirby Bag expressing concern with the proposed renewal of license of occupation agreement L 07-L O-2023-007.
Okay, mover and seconder, Barry and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Thank you, Carm. Now we have the Cluchets and McDowell's on Trappers Trail. Who's going to be the spokesperson here? There you go.
Pat, do you mind turning off your camera just so it's very clear that you're not in? Perfect, thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you very much for allowing us to have a discussion with the municipality. I represent the Plan 636 property owners on the unassuming portion of the public roadway known as Trappers Trail Road, which is a 13-kilometer stretch of roadway that runs from Highway 118 to wraps around all of Musquaby Lake. The last 800 meters of that public roadway is unassumed at this point in time. The property owners, I'm here representing them to ask the municipality to consider a request to assume that last 800 meters of unassumed roadway. Is Mallory, I guess you're not sharing a presentation, but I assume, yes, I can see it on Mr. McKechnie's screen there that you've got it up there. The road is in very good condition. The property owners have spent a lot of money on it, not just to maintain it, but to continue to strive towards municipal standards. Miraculously, it did not have any damage requiring repairs or maintenance from the deluges of rain that we've had in the county this year and we've had in prior years. There's a few pictures there for you to see the condition of the road. So the roadway is all assumed by the municipality, owned by the municipality, except for the last 800 meters. The property owners on the south side of the road are required by Plan 636 development that was implemented in 1999 to pay for all the road maintenance, the road insurance. The Cottage Association, which formerly used to be the MLNCA, Musquabi Lake North Cottagers Association, was amalgamated with MACA, Musquabi Area Community Association, who at the time took over in their bylaws the responsibility to maintain these roads. And MAC is responsible for the fee collection for the money from the property owners, as well as assessing and implementing road repairs and maintenance to keep the road safe for public passage, and to purchase the required insurance liability, which covers all property owners, all public users, as well as the municipality of Dysart. The owners on the south side are the ones who have to pay for 100% of these repairs and maintenance costs, insurance costs. MACA is the sole responsibility corporation for the roads. The road is used by the 19 properties served by the road. It's also used by the general public, ATVs, hunters, motorbikes, pedestrians. And it's also accessed by 3 properties on the north side of the road who are not part of Plan 636. The reasons for our request to the municipality is that MACA is primarily a cottage association required to do lake stewardship, community wellness, lake health, and it's a big job. They manage 4 lakes in the area. They are finding it increasingly difficult to find the volunteer time required to execute their responsibilities under their bylaws. There is no way for the property owners who are responsible for repairs and maintenance to gate the access because it is a municipally owned roadway. And there are, since the inception of the subdivision, additional property owners who are starting to build on the north side of the road who are not included in the Plan 636 requirement to pay for all the maintenance for the road. As a result of all these things happening over time, there's increasing conflicts with both the Cottage Association, with the property owners on both the north side and the south side. And MACA, I do understand, I have been a road rep and a volunteer for this road since 2007. I've also been a director for the entire time I was there for MLNCA and a director of MACA from time to time. So I understand the difficulty MACA has. It is not a roads association. It's a cottage association. It has a different focus, but it's now in the position where it needs to pick up the obligation for the roads, and it's not in their bandwidth. So we're having a lot of problems there. So the property owners on the south side of Trappers Trail who are in Plan 636 are requesting the municipality to consider accepting the road for assumption on the condition that the road owners bring the road up to a standard that's acceptable to the municipality to assume. The property owners know this is going to be a costly venture. They have no problem with that. They are in for whatever's required, and we just need to know that the county will assume it if we can reach those goals.
Well, I think that's always been the intent here. If you get it to a standard, we'll assume it.
Okay.
So I don't think that there'd be a question about that.
Okay. There's another ask. Would the municipality be able to help the property owners access any infrastructure funding that would be available to go towards the road improvement?
If there ever is any available.
I know it's a fairly stretched budget on that
Yeah.
case. I understand that.
First of all, the procedure would be that our roads people would tell a private contractor what he needed to do to bring it up to standard.
Mhm.
And I think you've already got some quotes. I'm talking to
Yes, we
Peter
have.
about it.
Yeah.
I'd suggest that, um, I don't know what that money is, and it's none of my concern what that money is, but there's, if you're going to do it this year, you got to do it this fall, right?
Yes, we'd like to do it right after Thanksgiving when most of the people leave the road.
Probably 2 or 3 weeks work to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we'd assume the road. That's not a big deal, but you got to
Okay.
bring it to standard.
Yep.
And how you finance that, that's,
Murray, what was the history on it, why it wasn't assumed in the first place?
well, it wasn't because it wasn't brought to standard. And we had that happen a lot up there. Where the whole system of Musquaby wasn't to standard. And we worked with the Cottage Association. And we did get a grant back then, that
Mhm.
was in the 70s.
Yeah.
And we bought most of them, but there's still 1 or 2 roads in there that are not assumed.
Yeah, there are some offshoots
Yeah,
off of Trappers Trail.
Small side roads. yeah.
We're the tail end of Trappers Trail, just the last 800 meters of a 13
So you
kilometer
go to
roadway.
the big, there's a chap right at the end with a big place.
Yes.
He could probably help you financially.
Well, all the property owners, quite honestly, I've been working on this whole project for road assumption quite actively since 2007. And I've seen a lot of turnover in property owners. And I talk to all the property owners regularly. We've got a couple of them in the audience today who support the project, and they're all behind it. We just need approval, confirmation that if we spend the money, get the goals achieved for road
If you-
assumption, we'll do it.
I think we all agree, if you get it to standard, we'll assume it.
That would be
You can
awesome.
count on that,
Okay, thank you.
okay?
Appreciate that. Anybody have any questions about the road?
See, that was easier than you thought.
Yeah, it was.
Thanks
Thank you
very
very
much,
much.
Elizabeth. Take care. Okay, a resolution and,
Yeah, be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the delegation from local residents regarding a potential assumption of the 800 meters of Trappers Trail Road.
and I think we could add that if it comes to municipal standard, that we would assume it. And then you got it right.
Yeah. And further that the road will be assumed if brought up to municipal standard.
Mover and seconder. Nancy and Tammy, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay. Okay. Okay, I guess we're gonna have Jeff and Chris here now. And we have the Grass Lake people here, the accountants. You can sit there, or you come up here.
I think I might be better heard
Yeah,
here.
there you go.
This is regarding our application to acquire the shoreline road allowance in front of our property on Grass Lake Road, near the end of Grass Lake Road behind Stuart Baker Elementary School.
Okay.
Basically, right on the river face across from the marina. So that's where we're located. We have applied to purchase the property, the shoreline road allowance, and there's been some discussion back and forth with council. I did appear in the January meeting regarding the concern that we renaturalize a portion of the shoreline. We've already renaturalized most of it, but we were unable to or unwilling to renaturalize the weeping bed, which is the last part that is open area primarily. And council in its January 23rd meeting, as you will recall from, if you were to look at page 156 of the agenda material, it refers to a meeting in January of council that I attended, and there was discussion about the amount of renaturalizing that we had already done, and that it would be impractical to renaturalize the weeping bed. And council agreed. There were other issues that planning staff had brought forward about the property, but we deferred any discussion on those until we had a survey done to define exactly where the property line was. The survey was done in May, and we're now requesting relief from staff's request that we move our hot tub by 2 meters so that it is no longer within 20 meters of the shoreline as required by the zoning bylaw. So over the page on page 157 is the agenda materials is the basic point that staff are making, that our hot tub is a structure as defined in the bylaw, and hot tubs are mentioned specifically in section 2.173 as a structure. Our point is all about. It's not a building or a constructed thing. It's not attached. And so we believe that the reference in the bylaw to hot tubs as a structure needs to recognize that portable or removable hot tubs are not structures, because it's certainly not built in or constructed in any way. However, I acknowledge that we are 2 meters over the line. It's 2 meters too close to the lake, according to the bylaw, if it was a structure, but we believe it's not a structure.
Well, if it's portable, then why couldn't you move it back to me?
Well, it's sitting on a deck, so
it's on
for
the
to
deck,
level
okay.
the ground, and so it's flat. So we would need to move the deck, and that creates upset to the soil in the whole area. It's a generally flat area, and we could move it, but that's extra work and effort, and it's going to create disruptions to the near the shore, the soil and all the rest of that.
Okay.
So we understand that exemptions have been granted in the past for these kind of portable structures, and recognize that the bylaw actually mentions swimming pools as structures. Now, I can imagine that if our portable hot tub isn't allowed in a water setback, then kids' swimming pools aren't going to be allowed, and maybe even dining tents and things like that that might be put on a deck. So just what is the definition of a structure? And I think the bylaw needs to be clearer, or in this case, an exemption granted for our soft tub. My last point is that staff brought up in the middle of page 157 environmental concerns about hot tubs. And I acknowledge that hot tubs have sanitation, bromine or chlorine in them to protect the water, and that the discharging of that water is an important environmental concern. And our strategy is, first of all, to stop sanitizing or adding bromine a couple of weeks before we're going to discharge, then neutralize it with the standard neutralizing chemical to bring it down to 0 parts per million of bromine, and then empty it uphill away from the lake. So even if our tub was moved 2 meters, we'd still have the same problem. The issue about environmental concerns about hot tubs should be addressed, in our opinion, by proper guidance and or regulations about how you discharge water from a hot tub. And I've given some information to Pat Casey, our counselor, suggesting ways that the council might address the environmental concerns about hot tubs, because location of the hot tub is not going to cure the environmental problem. is really the issue of what is the quality of the water that you're discharging? How quickly do you discharge it? Does it come out like a fire hose, or does it
Right.
trickle out over 10 hours or 24 hours? And where is the discharge point? And its location relative to the topography and all the rest of
It
it.
sounds like you're conscientious about it, but not everybody would be.
I believe that's the case and is part of our reason for our final conclusion here that we seek an exemption from the requirement to move our hot tub under these circumstances.
Does planning, Pat, do you have a comment?
Yeah, Murray, I did review what he sent in there. It's all the common sense stuff in regards to discharge from the hot tubs and everything. Just looking at the pictures there, he hasn't cleared any trees. It's kind of secluded, and yeah, it's close to the line. But I myself, I'd support that exemption in this note. And we always run the problem of reoccurring cases, I guess, that come up in front of council. But I think this is one that I would stand by on that note. And if on the other side of it, if it was a whole bunch of landscape work and it was a permanent hot tub and it was again inside the 60-foot zone there, I would have a problem with it. But being a soft tub and he can move it around, and it sounds like he's got his ducks in order there and how to handle the discharge of the water inside it. To me, I'd stand this alongside it. So anyway.
Jeff, do you have any comments? Jeff, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, sorry, Mayor. I wasn't sure if you were directing that at me. I didn't hear you. I do have a couple comments just I'd like to bring to council's attention. As Mr. Cowan mentioned, the definition of structure specifically says that it includes a hot tub. So if council would like to permit this structure to remain in this location, the Planning Act outlines the process to allow that relief to the bylaw, which would either be a zoning bylaw amendment or a minor variance application. If council is considering directing staff to interpret the bylaw in a way that temporary structures are excluded from being governed by the zoning bylaw, I would just outline that there would be significant implications of that. And it's something that council should consider. And if they are considering it, I would ask that council might consider a legal opinion in that regard. But basically, I'm just looking for direction from council how they want to proceed here. Staff do note that, again, the appropriate method to grant relief to a water setback for a structure would be through a variance or a zoning bylaw amendment.
Barry?
So I agree with what you're trying to do. Like it's not a big issue, what you're trying to do. But I think the problem is that where does it stop? So if somebody wants to put a structure out there that they're going to say is temporary or something, whether it be a gazebo or something from Walmart or whatever, some of them look pretty good, and we've talked about possibly changing the rules, but we're not there yet. So I don't know, like what kind of precedent are we going to set if we do allow this?
Would you be opposed to a minor variance? You probably would get it, I'm guessing.
That would allow its
Yeah.
current location? No problem.
Well, I think that's one option he's got.
Yep. Yeah, you could
If
apply
that's
for a
simpler.
minor.
That way it makes
that's
it makes
simpler.
it legal that way, and then you don't have to be coming back here in another year or something.
Right.
I'm caution to say that I don't think you should say that you're going to automatically get it.
No,
but
no,
it's-
but the odds are that you might if
Yeah.
you make a case.
And there is a fee included. Jeff would know. that
What kind of fee are we talking about?
Can you answer that, Jeff?
Yes, thank you. The standard minor variance application fee is $900.
Whoa. I have to think about that.
Okay, well, that's something I'll ask you to think about.
Okay, and if we want to proceed, then we come back again.
No, you just make the application, it'll go to committee of adjustment. It doesn't need to come back here.
Okay. So how would it be left if we want to do the minor variance? we notified Jeff,
Yeah, yeah, you talked to Jeff, yeah.
right? And the other route of changing the bylaw is more complicated
It
and
is
out of
very-
our hands
Very
anyway.
complicated and it has a lot of implications. That's why we don't want to do it.
I think you should think about it anyway, but maybe not on our case.
Okay.
Yeah, I would really like us to start looking into that more, our council here in regard to making a change to an issue like this. We have discussed it, and it's another thing that we just maybe haven't addressed that we were all kind of interested in looking into, and I definitely would like to put that back on the table, so.
But I think that comes when we're doing an update on official plans and zoning bylaws, rather than individual cases. You just can't just do that simply.
Mhm.
It has a lot of implications, like Barry said. So, yeah, we can certainly look at that.
Yeah, like we're
Right
all.
now, he wants to use it, have permission to use it next year, so.
Well, like we're all in favor of like everything for the environment, and I mean, Mr. Callan here seems like he's trying to do everything right, and I think, you know, I want to give the people the benefit of the doubt that there's not too many people out there that are gonna just open the bottom up and let it all flow into the lake, and if like you're still far, you're saying you're 20 meters from the lake.
Almost 18 right
Yeah.
now.
So it's just something that I think that we should take a look at here, because this is 2024 and
Mm.
times have changed in a lot of ways, and I'd like to see us take a look at it. Thank you.
Okay. Mallory, where are you now? Mallory, are you there? Lost her.
Yes.
Yeah, Jeff, you got your hand up?
Yeah, given that we appear to be unable to hear Mallory at the moment, staff did provide a resolution for council's consideration, which basically says that council maintain their original decision. I do want to note that original decision, which is a resolution to declare the land surplus for the shore rollouts, includes the condition to either remove that hot tub or bring it into compliance with the zoning bylaws. So that original resolution of council still provides flexibility, because bring it into compliance can include that variance application. It can include a zoning bylaw amendment. It opens up a lot of avenues for Mr. Callan to proceed. So if council were to pass the resolution recommended today, he would still have the opportunity to explore those avenues.
Can you guys hear me?
Okay.
You can hear me now? Good.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry about that. I have a resolution to read, if that's okay.
go ahead.
Okay, so be it resolved that council maintains its previous decision with respect to application L07-RO-2023-009, that pursuant to section 3.2.7 of the official plan, the hot tub shall be removed or brought into compliance with the zoning bylaw, which would be the minor variance route.
So if you bring it into compliance.
Okay, so if we pass this today, as she's saying, then you realize then you still have these options open to you to,
Yes.
okay.
Okay. Okay. You heard the resolution, mover and seconder. Walton, Barry, all in favor? Carried. Thank you, Mr. Collins. Okay. Fire, Dan? Okay, Dan?
Good morning, Mr. Mayor and members of council. I'd like to just speak quickly about our call volume as we usually do. I can see as our total annual calls to date compare with last year's, we're actually one call off of last year's total volume. Numbers have certainly shifted around in what our priorities have been. We had more fire complaints last year during the fire ban. Unfortunately, that's been made up with medicals in this case this year. So our numbers again, still looking to aim in the same ballpark of our annual total last year, which ended up being 452 calls for the whole year. Now, more importantly to me is to pass on to you the information about our smoke alarm campaign. Nice to see that our firefighters were able to get out and see several of our residents and our seasonal residents. We do try and focus on a lot of older locations, specifically because we're worried about the battery backups and the older alarm systems. Certainly they're still valid, but they're harder to maintain. So we like to make sure we're focusing on some different areas that way and catching people when they're here. So that's why we end up the end of July there. So we have several people that potentially are in location. We try and catch them during mealtime on the Monday evening. So this year we were able to reach out to it was 170, pardon me, residents. The actual locations. We left our information behind for places we couldn't get in. It is interesting. People are being more cautious about who they let into their home. So we certainly try and make sure we have all our identification and our uniforms on when we go door to door. So we'd like to get that out to the general public. We do try and do our public education opportunities whenever we can. There's lots of public events that you support in the park that we try to get to. So even though smoke alarm is our main concerns, we are certainly focusing on emergency management, fire escape plans, and fire safety. People will have questions about general heating, carbon monoxide, and fire extinguishers. So it's really nice for the fire department to get door to door and get to see those things. Do any of you have any questions about that?
No, that's a good program, by the way. Really good. Any
It
questions?
really takes the support of the firefighters to do that, and we really appreciate that our volunteers are willing to take that time and do that. So
Yeah, they do in the evenings, which is great. Yeah. Okay. Any questions for Dan? Okay, resolution then?
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the fire department report for July 2024.
Mover and seconder? Tammy and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, Parks and Recreation.
So Andrea's not available today, but I just I'll just give you a brief overview. I think council's read the report. $2,300 was raised for the hospital foundation with the powerboat races, and a further 1,000 will be coming from the Toronto Outboard Racing Club. And as part of this letter they've sent in, they're asking council to allow them to reserve Head Lake parking lot for the 2025 event.
Okay. Any comments on the races or? Good brochure, by the way.
Yeah, needless to say, I think probably all of us have heard the odd comment like we have over the number of years, the noise factor. I think like right now, like we've another thing that we've discussed that we were going to finalize and look at again was all the park, rules and regulations and fines that we were going to try to put together a new policy for that. So I think that definitely would like to get that in place before we start accepting, new events in the park. This is of course, I don't live here. I hear the noise and I understand the people's concerns, but it is only for a few hours each day. But I just think that right now we should just sit back and not wait a long time, but we should have a meeting on this and get our what do you call it, Murray, fines and
We need
fees
park
and
policy.
park policy in place, and so we can carry on.
Yeah, we should set that time and
Yeah.
do it and just do it.
And yeah, like we would, like I think we have to do it.
But Murray, can we not tentatively accept them for next year? As long as our policy allows it, just so they can schedule,
Yeah,
because they're gonna wanna know the schedule for next year now. So there's no reason we can't say,
Yeah.
providing our park policy doesn't change,
yeah,
we should be able to accommodate you.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Did you hear that, Mary?
Oh, that's good.
Who's, Pat, you got a question?
Murray, just as information, I haven't went around to the different business owners in town myself just yet. Been under the weather, but never received any negative emails this year. Just food for thought on that. But I agree with Carmen in terms of a letter of support, depending on how our review goes of the park. Anyway.
I mean, some people say it's taking the whole park up. Well, it doesn't take the children's area up or any of those areas, so. Yeah, the parking lot, which.
Actually, Murray, if we had another spot for them to launch the boats, they wouldn't even be in the park, but they have to go in the park because that's the only place they can access the water, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I can read a resolution that just says that it has to abide to future park policies, if that works. Do you want me to read that?
That does it.
Okay, so be it resolved, the council receives this update report for the 2024 Halliburton Generators Power Boat Races. And further, the council agrees to allow the Halliburton Generators Power Boat Races to reserve the Head Lake parking lot the weekend of August 15th to 17th, 2025 for their 2025 event, providing it abides to future park policies.
Okay, mover and seconder. Walt and Barry, all in favor? Carried. Okay, building and bylaw, Carl and Bree and Haley.
Good morning, council. We'll start with the July building permit activity report. You'll notice that the number of permits are still down, but the construction value is up considerably from last month. That's thankful to 3 or 4 larger projects, which boosted that number. If you'll notice the permit revenue, that's still down because of the number of permits. Even though those larger projects boosted the permit revenue, the number of permits just don't keep it up. Average daily inspections are pretty well normal for this time of year. Any questions with the report?
Not very likely that we're going to catch up in total building permit values, is it?
No.
Into August here. Anyway, can't do much about that. Any questions for Carl? Okay, resolution then.
Be it resolved, the council received the July 2024 building permit activity report as information.
Mover and seconder. Barry and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Sorry, Pat, I missed you there. I'll get you next time. Septic inspections. Bree?
Morning, everybody. So this report is just sort of the same thing that we've done the last couple of months, and it's just basically providing a quick update to council and to the public with regards to how we're making out with progress for our septic maintenance program. July was another busy month with regards to inspections. We visited over 100 properties, and we completed our septic maintenance inspections at most of those properties, as well as the lake health assessments. Again, this month, a lot of our lake health assessments are sitting at that high 80 to 100% score, which is a solid A or A plus score for most properties, which we're happy to hear and happy to see. Our results for our septic inspections, there was definitely a few more in the higher risk column this year, and I think a lot of that falls on to people with overusage with regards to bedrooms and things like that. But for the most part, it's pretty kosher in comparison to what we've been seeing so far this season.
Tremendous amount of rain at times too, which doesn't help some areas.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions for Bree there? Mover and second.
I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved, the council receives the July 2024 update for the septic maintenance inspection program as information. Did we have a mover and seconder or?
Now, Pat and Carm.
Okay.
All in favor? Okay, bylaw update report.
Good morning, everybody. So for our bylaw update report, July 2024, in keeping with the trend of increasing incoming complaints, that was our highest complaint intake in the history of this report, which is about 4 years. We had 33 incoming complaints last month. We are working to get rid of some of these legacy files. So as you can see, the cases over 1 year are starting to drop. The zoning files do take some time, so they're going to be hanging around a bit longer. We have, in terms of other enforcement issues related to some comments last month and the next item, there are areas in town that are already listed as no parking zones, but it's not very clear. Would council like us to generate a list of the areas that we think are those problem areas for potentially painting additional lines on the road next year when we're doing line painting to further clarify that these are no parking zones? We are doing, we're doing patrols of these problem areas, but it's clear that drivers are confused as to where the no parking it starts and stops.
I think we should, or we're gonna have more of this next item agenda here. We're gonna have more of them. We don't, so.
Yeah, I know the BIA would support that as well on that note. That's a great idea, Haley.
Okay, then you can go ahead with that, Haley, then, by the sound of it.
Okay.
Okay, resolution then, Mallory.
Okay, be it resolved that council received the bylaw update report for July 17th to August 20th, 2024 as information. And then I can add, and further, that council directs staff to compile a list of no parking zones, to paint additional lines next year to clearly indicate these areas.
Okay, mover and seconder. Who's that hand up? Carmen Walt, all in favor? Carry. Okay. Next, a letter from Bishop and Rogers.
Yes, this is further to the confusing areas of no parking. The end of the driveway does look like a parking spot. We are patrolling that spot regularly. It's one of our problem areas. The issue is we can't be there during every hour of the business every day to tell people to stop parking there. We do go out daily to that area, but we're not able to catch everybody who parks there.
Well, there's a space, just two parking spaces up that used to be a driveway. It's not a driveway now. It's got a sign on it, no parking. It's owned by the same owner as owns the Bishop and Rogers building. And I would think we might be able to trade the one next to the driveway for that one if that was a compromise. But that needs to come from the owner.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I understand. So that's something that would be discussed, I guess, would be discussed with the owner.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess right now we don't want to give up any more parking spaces. Yeah.
Just to clarify that, there is a sign where there doesn't need to be a sign, and so could that sign be moved to where they're
Yes,
having
and
the
have
issue?
parking there and then give
Yeah.
up the other one.
That's a great idea.
Okay, resolution then?
Okay, be it resolved the council receives the Bishop and Rogers LLP no parking letter as information.
Okay.
And then we've got direction to reach out to them. I've got that in the minutes.
Okay. Mover and seconder? Tammy and Pat, all in favor? Carry.
Is it possible to take a break?
Well, it certainly is. It's always.
Thank
possible.
you.
Okay, we'll take a 10-minute break. Okay, Public Works, I guess, next, Mallory. There's Barbara. Hello, Barbara.
Good morning.
So we're waiting on Dave and Rob and John. Okay, I guess, Dave, you can give us the road status report?
Yep, that's great. Good morning, council. How are you? Road maintenance status report for July 2024. So construction is ongoing. We finished up at Percy Lake. Miller Paving will be doing resurfacing in mid-September. We have some emergency washouts, so we're repairing emergency washouts as required. Brushing and tree removal. Any trees that have fallen down, we take care of as a crew. Ditching, spot ditching as required for drainage concerns in multiple areas. Patching, cold patching operations ongoing as required. Road sweeping, so town sweeping every Thursday morning as required. And grading, so maintenance grading ongoing as required.
And I did comment on Percy Lake Road. It looks really good.
That's great. Thank you.
Gary?
Where is the brushing of the side of the roads? Where are we at with that, or what roads are gotta be are getting done this fall? I just got a couple of questions that people have phoned me about.
Okay,
So that was on the agenda last month, Councillor, so it should be starting probably in 3 weeks.
Okay.
I can touch base after the meeting, Barry, if you like.
Okay, that's good. Yep. No, they just had a couple of quick questions for me. No big concern.
Murray, you were saying, Dave, that Johnson's Bay is going to be graded this sometime this week, maybe?
Yes, the grader's actually headed to Johnson Bay today.
Okay, thanks very much.
No worries.
Dave,
Okay, resolution then. Oh, Nancy, you have a question?
I just wanted to tell Dave that whoever did all the cutting back of the brush up and down Highland Street did a really good job, because the branches are no longer hitting cars driving down the road, and it's really brightened it up. The street light actually is able to work now. So I just wanted to say thank you that whatever company did that did a really good job.
Yeah, no, that's great. That was Bosch Home Tree Services, and it was for the school routes for the buses. So no, that's great. Great feedback. Thank you.
Okay, resolution now.
Be it resolved that council receives this report outlining road maintenance activities for July 2024 as information.
Mover and seconder. Walt and Carm. I think we lost Pat, didn't we?
I think he's there. He just has his camera on.
He says that it's not letting him back in. So should he log out of Zoom and
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think he's getting bit by a dog, I think.
There he
we
is.
lost you for a minute there, Pat. Okay, I guess, Rob, this is you, tenders for Cauchnong Bridge.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Still stinging on this one, quite honestly, that we didn't see this one coming. We issued the tender. We had 53 plan takers, and with a budget of $1.1 million, we received a loan bid for nearly $5.3 million. Needless to say, we're not recommending awarding this. So I think we're going to go back to the drawing board and come back with a few different options, but potentially if we retender, we should strike early and release it in January, possibly at the same time as the Redstone Brook Bridge. At this point, there's no sense in tendering for the other bridge if this is the way the pricing's going.
You got that note I sent you yesterday, might be good news, Rob.
Yeah, we've looked at detours. The problem with the detour is basically what's going to happen to get from one side of the bridge to the other. You'll end up driving 27 kilometers. And of that 27, your 4 to 5 kilometers is going to be through private property. So that's going to have its own challenges, but it's certainly something we're going to look at.
But I think this is only, I don't know whether, this is apparently a joint road allowance that goes right into Camp Wanakita.
Yes, so it eventually comes out to County Road 3, but it goes through both private lands and ministry lands. So there's going to be some hurdles, but certainly worth looking at.
Yeah, it'd certainly be a lot less than the way we were looking at, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see what happens, and you're right, we'll wait till spring. We may end up having to leave that bridge right where it is. for a while.
And that's something we can look at as well. That's going to be part of the equation.
Good. Okay, Pat, do you have a question?
Rob, was that tender that was let, was it a culvert based or pile based, or what was it, do you know?
It was culvert. So we did get approval for
Wow.
four 10-foot culverts.
And they want 5 million to do it.
10-4. Yep.
Wow.
Don't you wish you had that job, Pat?
We'll take a look at it next time.
For sure.
Yeah, the big hang up there, I think, was the temporary bridge to go over as the detour. That was much higher than we had first anticipated. So I guess there's not a lot of them kicking around. So
Yeah. And then they had the nerve to ask if we were going ahead. Good luck. Okay, resolution then?
Be it resolved that council declines to award work outlined in RFT 2024-PW-13, being the replacement of the Coshlong Lake Bridge due to the loan bid submitted being grossly over budget and not providing good value for the municipality, and that the work be retendered in 2025.
Okay, mover and seconder. Pat and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Tender results for Clear Caring and Carroll Pit. Just while I got you on there, Rob, they're telling me they still can't find anything in the local newspapers on some of these ads.
yeah, and I do apologize. These were all released the same time, so this would be a part of the same batch that Councillor Casey brought up last month. I just deferred awarding these ones or recommending award just to do some due diligence on them. But I know we just for council's information, we are on an owner pay model now. So whoever signs up through bids and tenders, unless they check the boxes, they'll get notification on this as well. But I'll make certain that they do hit the paper and the webpage more diligently than they have been.
Okay, thank you. Okay, tree clearing bid there.
Yeah, so this one I saw pre-approval quite a while ago on it. Just took me a while to circle back to it. Same thing, went on bids and tenders. We had quite a bit of interest in it. The low bid was $98,000, which was quite a bit higher than we first thought. I didn't really know how to price this one. We haven't done that here in my time. But given that it's going to be funded from the gravel pit reserve, I am recommending award to Triland Excavating and Haulage.
Okay. How many tenders did you get on that?
7.
7, okay. No locals, so because they didn't see it.
Yep, there was 1, 2.
2, okay. All right. So resolution then, Mallory?
Be it resolved that council award the work outlined in RFT 2024-PW-14, tree clearing, grubbing, stripping, and stockpiling at Carroll Pit to Triland Excavating and Haulage for $98,000, excluding HST, and that the work be funded by the Gravel Pit Rehabilitation Reserve.
Do they clean up after, or what do they do with the trees and brush and stuff?
They chip it and truck it.
Okay. All right. Okay, mover and seconder? Walt and Tammy, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Okay, the supply of one municipal tractor, that's a snowplow thing, eh?
Yeah, that's for our sidewalk plow. We discussed this earlier in the winter. So we had a demo of a unit in the winter. They came and kind of showed it off on the way through. I went down with some staff a couple weeks ago to the trackless plant to see how they do a remanufactured unit. So basically what I'm recommending is the low bid should be considered for award. They take the engine and the driveline out of the old ones, remanufacture them, And then everything else is brand new on the chassis, the wiring, the seats, the glass, the everything. So we had planned on about $200,000 for a unit. So the tractor alone was 161 excluding HST, but we'd also talked about getting some value add items to do some spot brushing, and a snow blower would be there to load trucks for more for redundancy for the snow clearing in town. Should our 8-foot blower go down, at least we can get the streets cleared. We could also further utilize that for snow removals and parking lots and stuff as well.
So it's within the 200 then?
The tractor itself is within the 200, which, you know, is under that part. The attachments put it over, but we can use them as value add items. It won't be an increase in the maintenance budget. We'll just scale back our mechanical brushing a little bit.
Okay. Okay, mover and seconder.
I'll read the resolution. So be it resolved that council receive the results of RFP 2024-PW-16 being the supply of one municipal tractor as information, and that council purchase the 2024 MT57 trackless sidewalk tractor, complete with snowplow, drop sander, boom flail mower, and ribbon snow blower for a cost of $236,294.80 plus applicable HST, and that the purchase of the sidewalk tractor be funded by the general vehicle and equipment reserve.
How big a brush will that cut?
It's about 1.5 inches. So it's good for just spot locations, sight lines, that kind of thing. You wouldn't want to do the whole road with it.
So quite a few places we're going to need more bigger equipment anyway. The okay, do you have that resolution then? That I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Yeah, I read it. We just need the mover and seconder.
Yeah, okay, mover and seconder, Barry and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Pre-approval for a 1-ton.
Yes, thank you. Just trying to stay ahead of the curve on this. Procurement is still an issue for some pieces of equipment. So if we get pre-approval on this, we'll put the tender out now. We expect to take delivery in 2025 at some point, and we'll just include that in the budget. Just as of note, we're still awaiting delivery on a tandem truck that we ordered in 2021.
So what, this just replaces the one that's worn out, right?
Yes, this will replace a 2015 unit.
Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council approves the request to purchase a new 1-ton pickup truck for delivery in 2025, and that the purchase be funded by the general vehicle and equipment reserve.
Mover and seconder. Carm and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Salt shed on municipal property.
Yeah, so this is updating a current letter of understanding we have that expires next year. About 9 years ago, the MTO put a salt shed on municipal land out of the roads garage. And the goal of that was to increase the level of service for winter highway operations, in particular along Highway 118. So they do house 1 backhoe and 2 combination units there. They keep about 250 tons of salt there on hand, and they dispatch the trucks directly through there from Trappers Trail out to Bird Lake near Bracebridge. So what they're seeking to do here is just identify they want to do some additional asphalt paving. And what they're going to do with that is place some brine tanks on top. So it looks like they're going to get into some direct liquid anti-icing in the next contract, which expires in 2032, I believe. So we won't see anything on this for another 8 years. So this letter of understanding doesn't kick in until next year, but they just wanted to get ahead with the paving and get it identified in the letter. There'd be no cost to Dysart on this.
No worry about the salt, I guess. It's in the sand pile there. Okay, okay, resolution.
Be it resolved the council approves the Ministry of Transportation letter of understanding for a salt shed located on municipal property, being the roads garage located at 13323 Highway 118 for a term of September 1st, 2025 to August 31st, 2032.
Okay, mover and seconder. Nancy and Barry, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Empty beer, wine, and spirit containers.
Good morning, Council. In April, Council made a resolution to issue a request for expressions of interest to solicit nonprofit organizations to operate a take-back program for empty beer, wine, and spirit containers at our waste disposal sites. Staff have prepared draft documents for council's review. So in the package is the overview of the proposed program and a draft agreement, which would be made between the service providers and the municipality, and the actual application form that the nonprofit or charitable organizations would complete. With council's approval, these documents would be posted to Dysart's website. We would use social media to encourage local nonprofit and charitable organizations to apply. And in addition, we would email a number of local nonprofit or charitable organizations, letting them know about this request for expressions of interest. The application deadline would likely be late September 2024, with a staff review of applications in early October. Dysart Council would then be presented with bylaws to execute the agreements at the October 22nd meeting of council this year, and the program would commence January 1st, 2025.
I think one of the things we need in the tender is better make sure we have some kind of a clause in there that if you don't pick them up when you should pick them up, because they're going to be all over the place. And I don't know how you judge what comes in there. Some days you go out there and there's hardly any at the landfill, and the next day everything's overflowing. So I don't know. It's not that easy to tender, I don't think. But anyway, resolution then, Mallory?
Yeah. Be it resolved that council directs staff to issue an application for nonprofit organizations to implement an empty beer, wine, and spirits containers recycling take back at all or some of Dysart's 5 waste disposal sites.
Okay, mover and seconder. Carm and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay, thanks, John. Guess we're off to finance now. Thanks, guys. Okay, Barbara?
Yep, good morning. So the first report we have here is the check summary report for July. Vendor payments amounted to $1,655,000 and payroll was just under $305,000 for total disbursements of $1,960,000.
Okay. We still haven't, I guess because Tamara's being away, but we still haven't had an update on council getting a copy of the expense account, so I guess wait till she said she had something, said we shouldn't have it, but we need it. Anyway, resolution.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the July 2024 check summary.
Mover and seconder. Walton Berry, all in favor? Carried. Tax applications.
Yes, so we have section 357 tax write-offs, and we have 2 properties, both were demolitions. Total municipal portion for write-off is $1,271.01.
Not much we can do about that one. Okay, mover and seconder.
I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that council authorizes tax adjustments for applications made under section 357 of the Municipal Act as amended as follows: municipal portion $1,271.01, county portion $954.48, and education portion $1,108.29.
Okay, mover and seconder now. Tammy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Annual report on investments and cash management.
Yes, so Ontario Regulation 43897 requires a municipality to adopt a statement of investment policies and goals and to submit an investment report to council annually. So here we have the report of our investments over the last year. During 2023, the Bank of Canada target overnight rate rose on 3 different occasions to end the year at 5%. The municipality closed out the year with a cash balance of just over $6.5 million. and the average yield on the cash balances was 4.95%, which generated $322,000 in interest income. Short-term investments amounted to $1,274,000 with an average rate of return of 5.24%, which generated interest income of just over $224,000. Long-term investments were held in guaranteed investment certificates with chartered banks for $1.5 million. These investment certificates earned $72,500 in 2023. So the total cash and investments at the end of 2023 is just under $9.3 million. Total interest income earned and accrued is $619,395.
Didn't do too badly then. Good. Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the 2023 annual report on investments and cash management as information.
Mover and seconder. Nancy and Tammy, all in favor? Carried. Municipal debt levels and schedule of debt limits.
Yes, so we have here the 2023 municipal debt levels and schedule of debt. And this is in regards to Ontario Regulation 40302. And council was introduced to this regulation last month with the presentation from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. So at the beginning of January 1, 2024, the annual repayment limit was just over $3 million, $3,058,000. So that number there is based on the 2022 FIR reporting. Since that reporting of December 31st, 2022, we've had some events that would impact the annual ARL. So we had additional debt payments for the purchase of land, and we also had a reduction in debt payments for the expiration of 2 leases for municipal equipment. So for 2024, the adjusted annual repayment limit is $3,086,000. So if you were to consider an interest rate of 5% on debt with that amount of debt repayment, the municipality could borrow up to $23,832,000. Giving consideration to the current debt that we're exposed to now, that represents 7.3% of that debt repayment limit. So at the end of 2023, we no longer have any capital leases. All capital leases have been paid in full. And that concludes the report.
Okay, resolution then.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the 2023 municipal debt limits and schedule of debt report as information.
Mover and seconder. Walt and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Asset management software.
Yes, so keeping in line with Ontario Regulation 58817, which it regulates asset management planning for municipal infrastructure. The municipality is currently maintaining assets in a decentralized model. So we've got different sources of softwares that are providing the information. This proposal here is to purchase the asset manager software with PSD Citywide. It's a very well-known and very utilized software with many municipalities, including 2 other partners within the county of Haliburton. So some of the benefits of utilizing a centralized asset management software include ensuring consistency and accuracy in asset data. So we would now have one asset registry, maintain regulatory compliance with features that support the development of asset management plans, financial integration with Dynamics GP fixed assets, tools for capital planning and analysis, and this comes in play when we're developing our capital budget year over year. It's a user-friendly interface. It's very intuitive, and the software has an unlimited number of users. So additionally, this software here will be the building block to provide the annual PSAB 3280 reporting, which is the asset retirement obligation for assets. Implementation of the software is $23,400. Software licenses are $15,000, and that again is unlimited users. And the annual maintenance would be $15,500. So the ask here today is for $53,900 to support the software purchase. And those we do have municipal modernization funds still available, and I'm asking to fund the project from the municipal modernization funds, and that would generate no impact on the current year budget.
But every year after this, it's going to cost money, isn't it?
It would be your regular maintenance costs of the software, which is the $15,500. And that's very typical with any softwares that we have. You purchase a software and then you have annual user license fees and maintenance and support.
So give me a quick version of what we do now and why this is so much better.
Well, it's a centralized software, so it's one registry. Right now, we hold our assets at cost base in our Dynamics GP system. We utilize DOT for our core infrastructure. And so that there is more of an analytical tool for projections. Whereas currently now what's happening is with some of the granting authorities, they're relying heavily on asset management. And one particular piece they're looking at is the replacement cost of our assets. So we're looking to centralize all that formulation under one platform. The ARO reporting was very extensive this year. It took a lot of staff time to complete, and that is a reporting that we'll have to do annually with our audited financial statements. So again, centralizing under one software, used across many departments for analysis. Another thing is our current funding. We have two main funding streams for infrastructure, one being the Canada Community Build Fund and the other being the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund. And they are closely watching our asset management plans to determine how much funding we'll receive on an annual basis. So it's really important to make sure that we have our asset management plan current, which is due next year. It's on a 5-year cycle, and also to be able to work with current replacement values to help with our budgeting process.
Okay, that's a pretty good explanation, I think. Okay, resolution then, Mallory?
Okay, be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the asset management software review report and that council directs staff to purchase the PSD citywide asset manager software for asset management, and that the asset management software be funded by the municipal modernization funds.
Okay, mover and seconder. Barry and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Barbara. Administration. Bylaw.
Yeah. So this first item here is the road naming bylaw. So there's some new roads, and then they were correcting the way one was spelled essentially. So we get this list from the county and we just make sure that it's updated and that we pass the bylaw to kind of formalize it. So the new road additions are Burnt River Lane, Forest Trail, Gonson Trail, Levitt Lane, White Fawn Trail. And then they were just correcting the spelling of Tattersall Road because it didn't have the 2 L's at the end. So that's what this bylaw does.
Just naming roads that weren't named, okay.
Exactly.
All right, mover and
I'll
second.
read the resolution. Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-81 being bylaw to provide for the naming and renaming of all public and private roads within the municipality of Dysart et al. Be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, now I need a mover and seconder. Carmen, Tammy, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Appointment bylaw.
The next one's pretty simple too. So we have a new Haliburton County Snowmobile Association representative on the Glebe Park Committee. And then, so that's Neil Vanderstoop, and then John Enright has been removed as the alternate member. So that's all this bylaw does, is correct that.
Oh, okay, that's pretty simple.
I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-82, being a bylaw respecting the appointment of members of council and public representatives of the municipality of Dysart et al. To appoint members of council as representatives of the municipality of Dysart et al. To external boards and organizations, be read a first, second, third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder. Pat and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you. Planning and land information.
Yes, thank you. So the first item is a bylaw 2024-83, which is a bylaw to execute a severance agreement for the lands of Morley on Bitter Lake. The severance application, which was file number H-003/24, received consent on February 12th, 2024, and this was for the purpose of creating one new lot for rural residential purposes. The purpose of the severance agreement is to clarify the conditions of development that were established during the lot creation process. It's pretty straightforward. Subject to any questions, staff recommend approval of the bylaw.
No, I looked at this I think it's pretty straightforward. Okay, resolution then?
Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-83, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a severance agreement with Ernest Morley for the lands located at Part Lot 16, Concession 10, Block G, Plan 404, in the geographic township of Guilford, municipality of Dysart et al. Be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder. Barry and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Next.
Yes, the next item is a road closing bylaw and deeming bylaw related to an application to purchase the shore road allowance in front of the property of Woods on Haliburton Lake. A registered copy of the survey has now been received by staff, so the bylaw is ready to be passed. Comments were received from the County of Haliburton. They did not have any particular concerns, and we will provide their comments to the applicant for information purposes. Comments were also received from the agent, Sue Harrison, who questions a clause in the bylaw and whether it would permit the reconstruction of their garage, which is located on the shore road allowance. And this was the purpose of this application. So in terms of the agent's comments, staff confirmed that that structure does have legal non-complying status with regards to that water setback. And we confirmed with the agent and the owners in the past, and we developed a plan for the reconstruction of that building in the location provided. So they shouldn't have any concerns. Everything should be able to proceed as discussed. But subject to any questions, staff recommend approval of the bylaw.
Okay. Resolution then?
Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-84, being a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey a portion of the original shore road allowance in front of Part Lot 18, Concession 10, in the geographic township of Harburn, be read a first, second, third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto. And further that bylaw 2024-85, which is a bylaw to deem Lot 12 and 13 and registered Plan 348 in the township of Harburn not to be within the plan of subdivision, for the purpose of Section 50, subsection 3 of the Planning Act, as amended, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, the corporate seal attached thereto. This bylaw intends for Lot 12, Plan 348 to merge in title with Lot 13, Plan 348, so that they can be used as one lot for development purposes, and further for Lots 12 and 13, Plan 348 to merge in title with part of the original shore road allowance, which has been closed and conveyed pursuant to bylaw 2024-84.
Okay, mover and seconder. Carm and Tammy, all in favor? Carried. Okay, Ellen Lake. Good old Harcourt Park.
That's right. So the next item is a road closing bylaw in front of the lease holdings of Authon on Allen Lake and Harcourt Park. The applicants have removed the necessary structures as per council's request. So this application is ready to proceed. Again, comments were received from the County of Haliburton. No particular concerns, but the comments will be provided to the applicants for their information. Subject to council direction, staff recommend approval of the bylaws or of the bylaw.
Okay. Resolution, Mallory?
Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-86 being a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey a portion of the original shore road allowance in front of part lot 2, concession 7, parcel 99, plan Allen Lake in the geographic township of Harcourt be read a first, second, and third time, pass, sign, the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder, Tammy and Nancy, all in favor? Carry. Okay. Milligan, Kenise.
That's right. So Mr. and Mrs. Milligan have made application to purchase their shore road allowance in front of their property on Kinesis Lake. As noted in the report, there are a couple of compliance issues identified for council consideration. Mainly, there's a small shed located on the shore road allowance. This shed does not comply with the minimum water setback. As per the official plan, the resolution includes a condition that that structure be removed or brought into compliance with the zoning bylaw. Staff requests direction and permission to process this application.
Okay, it doesn't sound very onerous. Okay, have a resolution then?
Sure. Be it resolved that council approves for processing an application by Gregory and Joanne Milligan to purchase a portion of the shore road allowance along the shore of Kinesis Lake in front of the property at lot 20, plan 467 in the geographic township of Havelock. Pursuant to section 3.2.7 of the official plan, the shed located on the shore road allowance shall be removed or brought into compliance with the zoning bylaw. These lands are declared surplus.
Okay, mover and seconder. Walt and Carm, all in favor? Carry. Okay, Lands of Cowan, Haliburton Lake. Cannon, sorry.
Yes, so Mr. and Mrs. Cannon have made application to purchase their shore road allowance in front of their property on Haliburton Lake for the purpose of obtaining a building permit for their boathouse. The boathouse, which is located on the shore road allowance, was first assessed in 1954. So its location is recognized by our official plan. But looking at the property photos, the shoreline appears to have been altered from its natural state. As per the direction from the official plan, the resolution includes a condition to renaturalize that shoreline. I'm happy to answer any questions council may have and request permission to process this application.
Have you discussed this with the Milligans?
We did provide them a link to the report, but we have not discussed the specific condition.
Okay. All right. Is it a big job then, or?
Well, if you look at, I believe it's the fourth picture on the agenda.
Yeah, it's pretty clear, isn't it?
It is, there is quite a bit of lawn down by the lake. In the past, there's been discussions of what is required to renaturalize it. I think the discussion is just to stop maintaining it. So whether it's a lot of work or not, it depends on the level of, I guess, aesthetics they would like.
Okay. If you just have to stop cutting the grass, then it's not a big a deal. Okay. Yeah. Resolution then, Mallory?
Be it resolved that council approves for processing, 1 second, I'm just gonna correct something. An application by Dave and Ann Cannon to purchase a portion of the shore road allowance along the shore of Haliburton Lake in front of lot 18, concession 9, and further described as lots 45 and 46, plan 348. In the geographic township of Harbour, these lands are declared surplus, and further that the applicant shall renaturalize the shoreline area in compliance with the site alteration bylaw 2023-101. The bylaw department is to confirm the property is brought into compliance with the site alteration bylaw.
Okay, resolution?
Remover and seconder?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get here right now. Barry and Carm, all in favor? All in favor? Carried? Okay. Thank you, Jeff. That was the lightest you've had for a while.
Yes, it was a nice short one for you.
Yeah, there you go. We'll pay for it next month, maybe.
Yeah, there's lots in the woodwork.
Okay, good. Okay. Reports then from local boards and agencies. Tammy, Harcourt.
Yeah, Harcourt had their opening for their new playground, which looks absolutely awesome. So I think they're all quite happy with it, and it was so great that our Dysart staff could get the funding available and put it towards Harcourt.
Okay, West Guilford.
No, nothing to report, Murray, no meeting.
No, okay. Rails End, Nancy.
She's kindly provided the report. Their art in the Art and Craft Festival weekend, they had close to 5,000 people in and out. They had lots of local support, a lot of excellent volunteers, and they're very thankful for our contribution, the contributions that Dysart made for the washrooms and the waiving of the fee for the park. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Resolution then.
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the August 2024 Rails and Gallery and Art Center report.
Mover and seconder would be Nancy and Walt. All in favor? Carried. Okay, Halliburton BIA. Pat, have you had a meeting?
Maria wasn't in attendance at the last one. I'll
Okay.
get caught up at this one here.
Okay. We'll catch up next month then. Harvest Halliburton. Nothing there yet, eh?
Murray, I actually got an email from Harvest Halliburton. They're having a steering committee meeting on September 6th. So I'm happy to bring back a report next council meeting to see what they're doing and where they're going.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Kawartha Halliburton Source Protection. Walt? No meeting. Upper Trent Management. Tammy?
No.
Nothing. I guess that's it. Other than going into closed session.
I can read that resolution if you'd like.
Yeah, you can.
Be it resolved that council adjourn its regular meeting at 11:17 a.m. to discuss matters pursuant to section 239, subsection 2 of the Municipal Act as amended pertaining to 1, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. 2, a proposed disposition of land in the township of Harcourt, which is original road allowance disposition. 3, a proposed disposition of land in the township of Dysart, County Road 21 property. 4, a proposed acquisition of land in the township of Dysart, Halliburton Village. And 5, information explicitly supplied in confidence to the municipality or local board by Canada, a province or territory, or a crown agency or of any of them. And that's in addition to reserve proposal.
Okay. Mover and seconder. Carm and Nancy, all in favor? Okay, so I guess we're going into closed.
Yep.
Okay, better shut up then. We're good? Okay.
So I have a resolution to report out, so I'll read that. Be it resolved that council approves the estimate of market value of John Parish dated August 6, 2024, with respect to the original allowance for road between concessions 1 and 2, lot 1, and further described as part 6 on plan 19R-6328 in the township of Harcourt, municipality of Desert et al. The purchase price of the lands is set at $61,000.
Mover and seconder. Barry and Tammy, all in favor? Carried. Confirming bylaw then?
Yep. Okay, so be it resolved that bylaw number 2024-87, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular council meeting held on August 27, 2024, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay. Mover and seconder. Walt and Tammy, all in favor? Carried. And the adjournment.
Okay, be it resolved that council adjourned its regular meeting held on August 27, 2024 at 12:23 p.m.
Okay, mover and seconder. Scott and Tammy, all in favor? Okay, so we'll try and get a hold of Greg here now.